Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 225 of the Well Done Life podcast. And hello, welcome back to episode 225 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I hope that you will stay for a very long time. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. Love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to be on this journey with me, for bringing friends, for all the likes, the shares, the follows, all of the feedback, even the criticism. I'm grateful for it all because it got me to this point and it continues to motivate me to want to get better and to continue to share and grow in this space with you. So thank you. Before we get started with this week's episode, you guys know that I like to be really foundational. It's really important for me that we kind of set the tone for how we're going to go forward in our episodes. This is a safe space. And when you're creating space, you're building a home. And so I really like to create it based upon two very important tenets, and that is clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. I just want to make sure that you understand that I created the Well Done Life brand and podcast because I believe in the power of women. There was a time in my life where I needed a space where people, really got real. Not saying that you don't have those out there, but sometimes we like to hold things back and just not always sit in our faults as well as our triumphs so that people have an understanding of how were able to get through. And when I was down, I needed that because especially I was looking for information. I just couldn't seem to find it. And so I decided, you know what, at this phase of my life, I have to create that space. So I hope that by me sharing my journey, the good, the bad, the ugly of it all, that I give you space to see that you can make it. That's really what it is for me, because I don't think I'm any better than anyone else. I think it's just, I've learned how to make it. I've learned how to just stand honestly and truthfully in the mistakes as well as on the triumphs, because I want you to grow from the experiences that I had. I want you to be inspired. I want you to do better, but I also want you to be empowered to share your story, because I believe there's power in women sharing their stories. We are the help that we are looking for. And so we need to create space where we can be safe, where we can be authentic. So you'll get, like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly of it all here. And through my story, as well as I will also spotlight other women in the community who are doing great things, that I hope that it will give you the strength to decide, you know what, that there is power in my story, my testimony, my journey has value, and that it's not value just for other people to be inspired and to heal, but it's value for you, because in you being able to stand in your authenticity and the truth of who you are and the statements and the journeys of everything that you've been through, you get to be your most powerful self. You get to be the most confident person that you are, the most vulnerable person that you are. And all of those things will lead to growth and expansion. So that's why I do this. And I hope that you will feel inspired and that you will tell a friend who will tell a friend and tell a friend, and this beautiful thing will grow. So welcome. That leads me really right into my other tenet. It's pretty straightforward. I love love. I'm a sucker for love. I believe in love. And so it's very important that you understand that everything that we do in this space is rooted in love. And with that, I like to make sure that I send prayers to you every week. And so I truly do believe in the power of two or more coming together in prayer. And like I said, I believe I'm not the only one out here praying for other people. So hopefully my prayers are reaching you, that you feel my love, and that you understand that you are supported and valued on this journey. So starting off our prayer, I'm going to stand on what I've been standing on, what I'm going to keep standing on, because I feel like we just need to stand on it. I'm standing in the power of being able to have peace. I think it's essential that we carve out moments for ourselves to really have peace. And I'm talking about being able to just sit in the stillness of it, to be able to regulate your mind and your body. You know, the world is super noisy. Life is super busy, and there is always going to be somebody that needs something or something that you have to do. And you have to be able to understand that even with all the demands on who you are as a person, it is essential that you carve out time of peace for yourself. In peace, like I said, your body is able to be regulated. Your mind is able to be regulated. It is so critical as you are out here trying to live, trying to exist, trying to thrive, that you are able to tap into who you are as a person, to be able to tap into your peace, because in there are the answers that you're seeking. It's also an opportunity, like I said, for you to regulate your body. And that's essential because health is wealth. Everything ties together. So I am praying for you to have peace in a noisy world. I'm also praying for you to have abundance. I'm going to bring abundance up a little bit further this time. Normally I have abundance at the end because I always feel like I stand on abundance. I want you to be financially abundant because you'll be able to be a blessing to yourself and to other people. But it's really important to me to highlight the abundance that we have from having joy, having peace, having happiness, having love in our spirit, because then that is an opportunity for you to be able to be imparted into as well as to impart into other people and to create bonds and memories that will last far more than any material possession that you will buy. So I pray that you are surrounded in abundance on all levels. And of course, I always have love as one of my prayers because like I said, I'm a sucker for love. I believe in love. But I want people to have good reciprocal love. And when I'm talking about good reciprocal love, it's not necessarily on a relationship standpoint because not everybody's in a season for love. But at the same time, there's always a season for love because there's self-love. And you have to love who you are. You have to value who you are. You have to stop being so hard on yourself. I mean, people are out here just trying to make it every day. And sometimes we are so hard on ourselves. We are our harshest critic. And that's why to me, sometimes it amazes me at the amount of opinions that, you see that people have about other people that we have sometimes because we are just naturally at times inclined to judgment. But people are really just out here just trying to do their best. And sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that, and we should, because we have to understand, many of us, myself included, just trying to do our best. It's never perfect, no matter what social media and the world may like you to believe. It's not perfect. There's always going to be something or someone that needs you. But at the same time, it's just being grateful for what you've got. It's being happy and blessed with the understanding that more will come. It's just recognizing that, every season comes when it comes, but you're just doing your best. And we're going to talk a little bit more about just understanding that you are doing your best. But I just kind of wanted to share those prayers with you because I think it's very important. And it's essential that we just kind of, like I said, kind of really keep it real. Like, people, we need each other. We need love. We need to pray for each other. We need people to talk to be inspired by. We need to be surrounded in love, real love, reciprocal love, the line of love that loves you from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. That kind of love. And that love shows up for you. That love sticks up for you. That love chastises you when you're wrong. Yes, even when you're wrong. And that love is just envelops you because it's you pouring in and you pouring back. That's the kind of love we all need. So of course, definitely had to stand on those. So those are my prayers for you this week. I am recording on Saturday, June the 28th. It is 2:16 p.m. I'm really grateful for to be here. I love it. I'm very excited. I hope everyone enjoyed last week's episode. I've been waiting, talking about love, timing, and all of the curves, trusting the curves. Love is definitely not a straight line. There's many different paths to love, many different curves. And so I hope that it gave you something to think about because your season is there. If you've been waiting for love, just make sure that you are taking this time to pour into yourself, that you're taking this time to recognize that in love there comes accountability, and that sometimes unexpected timing doesn't mean that you're missing your blessing. And you know what it means in the season of love to trust God. So if you've been struggling with any of those things, that's what that episode is about. And I definitely will link it in the show notes so you can go back. But this one is not necessarily along those same lines, but kind of maybe sort of is. This one I really want to talk about, I feel like I have been surrounded in this time around conversations and with people who are realizing or having these epiphanies where they feel like, they haven't accomplished anything in life. And when I say that they haven't accomplished anything in life, I think it's just this pressure, the pressure that kind of comes on us all, where we hit that point in our lives, probably in our mid 30s, going into our early 40s, or even in getting ready to hit into the 30s, where you start to feel like, I don't have anything that I've accomplished. And I don't know if I'm working hard enough, or you start to question like the path that you're on, the job that you're in, the relationship that you're having, all of the things. Are they leading you to the path that you're supposed to be on? And when I say the path that you're supposed to be on, that could be marriage, that could be a promotion, that could be a whole host of things. And all of those things are pretty much dependent upon, obviously, your values, your goals, and the things that you set up that you want to accomplish. I'm really, like I said, finding myself in a season where I have been in a lot of conversations with people who are struggling with that. And I have to admit, this episode was spawned out of a conversation I wound up having yesterday with my love and his daughter. We were all like on a 3-way conversation, and it was so sweet because, she's 25 and she's wonderful. She's just this beautiful light and just wonderful energy, but she is still discovering who she is as a person, trying to accomplish all the things and, figure out how she wants to leverage her degree. She's super creative, such a talented artist and very creative, and just trying to figure out what she wants to do. And I felt the energy coming from her as she's talking to her dad about the things that she wants to accomplish. And he's trying to, hold her accountable in a gentle, loving way, to help her find her path, that she's starting to feel those pressures as well. She's getting closer to 30. She's 25 right now. So still obviously very young, but it's just like a reminder to me of how we put that pressure on ourselves to be so many things. And I think about how I was at that point in my life. Pretty much for me, I was just very career driven. I was really thinking about at that point that, I was trying to get a house, get a nice sports car, and live and travel and do all the things with my male secretary, because marriage wasn't even on my mind at that particular point in time. I just was, trying to have a man. I was just more focused on, I want to date, want to have fun. I want to be in my career life. That was pretty much where I was. But at the same point, as I started to get older, I remember those moments where you feel like, oh my God, I'm really failing. And especially when you start to see other people in your life start to accomplish things. And I think one thing that we just kind of all need to remember with all these pressures and these expectations and these goals and these visions that we place upon ourselves is, I think we just all need to recognize that everyone is trying to just figure it out. And when I say that everyone is trying to figure it out, I'm saying that everyone is navigating something, even when it doesn't look like it. I mean, let's just be honest. In the society that we are in right now, social media is just literally like, we're using it like the Bible, the vision board. We're using it like the guide of how we all want to live or should be living. And it's because if you think about it, we're looking at these beautiful short content pieces where you see people who are planning the ideal wedding, or people who are traveling the globe, or people who are showing you a day in their life where they're working at these amazing jobs, all of these things. And it's beautiful because it gives you an opportunity to imagine, to dream, to expand your thought in your reference. But what we also need to remember about social media is that it's really only showing you all the wins and never any of the wounds. And let me say that again. Social media is showing you all of the wins, all of the beautiful things, but it doesn't show you the wounds. And when I talk about the wounds, we have to talk about the fact that no matter how pretty it looks like, there is still probably some mess going on behind it that you have no idea about, because you don't know anyone's struggle that it took them to get out of the bed to record that day in the life. You don't know what that person could be going through in that, trying to plan that beautiful wedding that just seems so appealing to you. You don't know what that person had to sacrifice or struggle to decorate that house the way that they do, or to cook the food that they're cooking for you, or to, show you how to live, how to travel. You don't know. Everybody is navigating something, because no matter how shiny and pretty it looks on the outside, there's always a mess behind it. And one thing that social media doesn't do, it doesn't normalize the mess. We all have to recognize we have mess. I mean, I know for myself, when I was in my early 20s, going into my 30s, and even into my 40s, early 50s, honey, it was a mess. Like, it was looking cute. I was doing the things, but I had to sacrifice. I mean, I was going through financial struggles. I was going through mental struggles. I was going through health struggles. And yes, if you probably look back at my social media, it looked kind of sexy. Every once in a while, I'd pop in and have a crash out, because I was crashing out. I was failing in my mind. I was struggling. But all in all, I was trying to keep it together, looking really pretty, like a nice box. And I had to understand in all of that, I had to learn how to normalize the mess. And I think a lot of us need to normalize the mess. We need to normalize the fact that you are not behind if you don't have all of those things. You are just in progress. And I think that everybody needs to give themselves a little bit of a break about that. We need to understand, like I said, that you're in progress, just like everybody else. Like everybody else is in progress. Nobody has it all together. If so, you would see a lot more happier people than what you're seeing right now. Right now, I know from myself, not just from the conversation where I was inspired by my by my boyfriend's daughter, but it was more so I've had that conversation with employees over the last few weeks. You know, outside of podcasting and doing this, I also work for, in corporate America. And two of my employees, are in this feeling where they are holding themselves very accountable. Actually, three, where I'm doing career development with them. And we're talking about, what they want to do, their goals and their plans, because they're starting to feel like I'm almost 30 years old and I don't have anything to show for it. Like, what have I accomplished? I don't know. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I am, not where I need to be. And I find myself again having these conversations where I have to remind them, you're not behind, you're in progress. And I think that it's important to normalize these kind of conversations because, again, like I said, we get fed these beautiful messages. And we have to understand as we are trying to work through figuring it out, because everybody is trying to figure it out, that it becomes very important for us to manage what we take in. You have to limit comparison. You have to curate your social feeds to protect peace. You may have to take breaks, and you've got to learn how to be gentle with you, because I have said it before and I'm going to say it again. I am my harshest critic. I don't need anyone to tell me what I don't do because I've already told myself that 5 times over. And I think one of the things that I know I've had to learn, not what I think, what I know, and I've had to learn in order to be at the place that I'm now is I had to learn how to speak to myself like someone that I love. And let me say that again. I had to learn how to speak to me like someone I love, because when we're speaking to the people we love, we're so gentle with them sometimes, even when they make mistakes. But for us, the voices inside of our head, we are darn near out here talking to ourselves worse than somebody would talk to you on the street corner who's pissed off at you, who doesn't know you. We hold ourselves to such high standards and we just talk so negatively. We limit ourselves by that type of behavior, by that type of energy. And we have to learn how to stop. We have to learn how to be gentle with the fact that we are doing our best, because nobody is better than you. Everybody is trying to figure it out, and you're only seeing small bites of their life versus the whole story. Understand that there is probably more of a story. That's why I think it's so important to be cautious about how you utilize social media. Curate your feed. Do what you need to do to protect your peace, because that is a really big part of being on this journey. And so as we kind of dive a little bit further, let's kind of talk about it. Like now we're talking about understanding that everyone's figuring it out. We're learning how to limit comparisons. We're learning how to speak life and love over ourselves. And you're doing okay for a while. Life starts to get better. But then what happens when the plan shifts and life happens? Because let's be honest, as you are on this journey, as you are trying to be the best version of yourself, as you are recognizing that everybody is out here just trying to do the best that they can do, trying to figure it out, and you get a groove and you're feeling good about it, all of a sudden plans shift. Life happens, because life is going to do what it does. It's life. And when say that life happens, I'm talking about career changes. I'm talking about unexpected marriages, unexpected pregnancies, medical diagnoses, broken relationships, lost money, lost jobs, all these things. Death, we haven't even really hit into that, and we'll talk more about it. But these things come and they derail plans, because a lot of times when we get into this pattern where we start to recognize that, we're going to speak gentle with ourselves, we're going to do what we need to do to curate our energy, we're trying to be better and speak life over ourselves as we are on this journey to do the best that we can, we have to remember life isn't linear. And that's not a failure when things come in. It's just about life being life, and the fact that if it does throw you off, that's okay, because remember, ultimately, you're a human being who's trying to navigate life. Because I know from myself, like I said, I've had many shifts, many things that have happened to me, many derailments financially. I've had car accidents, injuries, so many different things, health challenges. And when I was in those seasons, it really shook me, because it was like, okay, God, I'm really trying to be better. I'm trying to speak life over myself. And I remember in particular, when I hurt my knee, and I had to have an ACL PCL reconstruction, I was in physical therapy after that surgery for almost a year, learning how to walk over again. It was one of the most limiting things, and it rocked me to my core. People don't talk enough about the importance of your health, because when those things happen to you, they really shake you. I literally was in a depression. I was struggling. I remember at that point of time when it happened, I had actually been out of therapy for a while because I was feeling better. I had been going for a few years, and you get to a point in therapy sometimes where you feel like you're stable, where you feel like I wasn't having the ideations that I was having before. I felt good and confident, was ready out here to live my life, and I was doing all the things. I was getting ready to travel because I had planned my first solo trip as well. I was going to, for my birthday, I was going to Paris and London, and I was going to Iceland. I had it all mapped out. It was going to be just me. I was ready. And then lo and behold, I hurt myself. And I literally remember having surgery in July and was like, okay, we're in physical therapy. And I had an aggressive plan because I had told my surgeon that I want to be back out here doing, getting back on with my life, being healthy, trying to keep myself together mentally. And I had to get back up because I was like the only transportation source for my family. Like, I got to be able to be strong. I drove, just to kind of give perspective. I put so much pressure on myself. After surgery, I drove 4 days after surgery. And when I had that surgery, it was on my dominant side, on my right knee. So literally imagine, yes, I had that. And I was driving in 4 days. Like, I was like, I ain't got time. I got to get back out here. I got to get back. I went back to work in 2 weeks. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. I was just crazy, y'all. Don't take it like that. But what I'm saying is just like, when life happens, shifts happen. And you see, I'm like trying to navigate. I was like trying to get back in, but then life didn't tell me that I was going to get depressed. Life didn't tell me that. Life didn't tell me that my recovery was going to be harder than what I thought, because like I said, I developed a limp and I just couldn't shake it. And so my therapy got extended. And literally, I was in therapy until probably like 30 days before I left. That following February, like, I literally was like struggling to get back to myself. And it just created this feeling of failure, this feeling of being trapped and being limited. And I gained a whole bunch of weight, and I got depressed, and I went back into therapy. And I had to understand or learn through therapy that these shifts in life are going to happen, and that life isn't linear. And in therapy, which is something that I think you can give yourself grace when life starts to happen, is that you can learn to let go of the shoulds and embrace what is. And when I say let going of the shoulds, you should have done this, or I should have been more careful, or I should have worked out harder, or I should have made sure that I was doing all these things, and start embracing in the fact that, okay, well, I'm here right now. And how is this going to change me? What do I need to do differently so that I can keep moving and get better? Or maybe I do need to go to therapy and talk about this because this is where I'm feeling, this is what it is. And you learn how to be flexible in situations because, again, life is going to do what it does and what it's going to do, but you have to be flexible. And flexibility starts and ends with you and how you receive the things that you're going through. That's why I said you have to learn to let go of the shoulds and embrace the what is. You also may, during that time, need to update your goals. Yep. Like I said, my goals was I had to be able to walk the streets of Paris and London and Iceland without a cane, like without a limp. Like I was determined, and I was just like, I have to be able to do this. So I have to maybe pull back, spend some time, taking care of myself, trying to heal, not be so focused on trying to do everything for everybody, and pay that time to myself And I had to be okay with that. I had to learn how to give myself grace. I had to learn how to understand that I can't be there for everybody and I don't have to be. This is my time for me. And make sure that I kind of change direction. And you need to be able to give yourself the space to be able to change direction. That it's okay sometimes not to live up to expectations that you put out. The best laid plans, girl, let me tell you, I had so many plans this year. That's a whole nother conversation, whole nother podcast, which is coming. I just haven't sat down to have it. But so many plans, like literally I went on a retreat to have plans. And when I tell you life has shifted, life has shifted. And I had to learn how to navigate it. I had to learn how to update my goals because it just didn't align with my mental health. It didn't align with the things that my family needed at that point in time. It just doesn't flow. And I had to learn how to let it go. Learn how to let stuff go, baby. Learn how to let stuff go. Learn how to give yourself space to understand that it's okay to change. And when you are updating your goals and learning how to give yourself grace and recognizing changing and practicing flexibility, please make sure you take a breath. Please make sure you take a breath. Take a moment to sit still. Make a moment to acknowledge how you feel, the hurt, the pain. Regroup and then try again. Because just because life shifts doesn't mean that it's over. Just because you have to stop doesn't mean that it's over. It's just a season where you have to regroup, but you must try again. Don't give up because life is going to do what it does. And the only way that you lose is if you decide to let go and just give up. You're not built to give up. You're built for so much more than that. Take a breath and get back in the fight. So then that is part of it. Like I said, life is going to do what it does, but let's talk about as you are in that moment. You're taking a breath, you're regrouping, you're trying again, you're understanding that you have to shift. Life happens. You have to do a really important thing in that. Because I know it sounded so easy just to say update your goals and give yourself grace and practice flexibility. Of course, all of those things are very important. But there's one thing that's even more important that you have to do in that time. And what you have to do, which is one of the hardest things to do, I hate it, is you have to name the grief and the disappointment. Yes, you have to understand that it's grief. Because in those disappointments, in those hurts, you're grieving. And grief isn't just about death. Let's clear that up first and foremost, because that is part of it. That definitely can be part of life shifts. I mean, I've experienced a loss myself. Like I told you, I lost my godmother, and that was it's a major loss for us, for our family. Obviously death is a very serious one that many of us are starting to encounter more. But you also have to understand that when life happens and you have to shift and you have to move and you have to make adjustments, sometimes it is about reframing dreams. It is about looking at who you are and your expectations, all of those things. And when you lose those things, when you lose dreams, when you lose an identity of who you are or an expectation, you are grieving. And you can mourn the life you thought you'd have and build something new. And that's why it's important for you to name your grief and your disappointment, because you have to be able to give it a proper goodbye so that you have an opportunity to let it go, truly let it go. That's why naming it is so important, because you got to be honest about what hurts. You can't heal what you don't reveal. So you have to name it. And then you have to, like I said, create the space to feel. You have to allow the emotions to take place. And those emotions can come out in journaling. It can come out in prayer. It can be art. It could be voice notes. It could be just simply crying and just feeling, taking time for yourself just to process. But you have to allow that to happen. And because like I said, when I hurt my knee and I was depressed, I cried so much because I felt like my independence was lost. I felt like I was not the person that I used to be. I used to be more athletic at that point. I was running. I was doing the half marathons. I had done a full marathon. I was out there trying to reclaim my body and my identity and who I was. I was building myself up after being totally kind of demolished in my father's grief and my caregiving journeys and in heartbreaks, all of those things. So I was trying to be who I thought I should be. I was reframing me. And then here comes another loss. And I had to name it. I had to get real because this time it was so important. Like I couldn't shake it off because, a lot of times we try to shake stuff off. Some stuff you cannot shake off. And that's why it's so important for you to name it. You got to be honest about it and you got to give space to feel it. So feel and take your time with it. Don't let anyone convince you that all of a sudden you have to rush through what you are feeling. No, you don't. You are able to feel what you need to feel and take your time with it. Because you are the only one who knows when you're going to truly be past the situation. And it's okay that it may take a while. It could take years. Honey, I'm still healing from some things in my life. But I give myself the space to heal. But I give myself the space to understand that I don't have to allow it to consume me. Because remember, I'm building something new. Give yourself space to heal and to acknowledge your hurts. But also give yourself space to acknowledge that you are building something new while you are on this journey. And don't isolate yourself during this time. I think that's another big thing that we have to talk about. It's really important as you are on this journey of recognizing that everybody's just out here trying to do their best, trying to live their best lives and accomplish their goals. Connect with your people. Connect. Don't do this alone because you weren't meant to do this alone. And it's really easy for me to say that because for many years, especially as I was going through my caregiving journey and I was depressed and embarrassed and just struggling with my emotions in general, I isolated. I was really hard to me to get to know. Like I had met so many people because I was trying to put myself in situations where I would meet people, but I wasn't open to meeting people. So it just really didn't go very well, in my opinion. But I really felt like I wasn't able to build a lot of connection. And because I was just allowing myself to just sit in the pain. And I think a lot of people do that sometimes because we get so scared to be vulnerable. We get so embarrassed to share our feelings about the things that we are hurting on. And I think we just need to all understand that there is no reason for you to be embarrassed. You have to allow yourself to heal. Give yourself the space to connect with your people. The right community doesn't need you to be fixed. They just need you to be real. And I had to learn that I had the right community around me because I had, and really when I say I had to learn, that was just me having to open up and recognize that the people that I was around were able to handle me in all sides, all shapes, all frames, all dimensions and thoughts and emotions. Because a lot of times I think, we get into these roles in our friendships and our communities where we feel like we always have to be the strong one. We always have to be the fun one. We always have to be this one, just so many ones that we try to be instead of being ourselves. But when you're a really and true good community, when you're connecting with your people, you recognize they don't want you to be fixed. Like I said, they just want you to be real. And when you reach out to them with an intention and you talk to that friend and you say yes to invites and you give yourself space to be able to be there and be in a safe group, it gives opportunity for people to see the real you. And you'd be so surprised that there are many people in there who are going through the same things and can relate and probably will be able to say, you know what, me too, I'm struggling over here too. It's just that all of us are not talking about our pain as much. One, because we may not want to sit in it, which is one reason. Because again, obviously we hate to, talk about everything, so we sit in it. But then you'd be surprised they feel in the same way that you do. Everybody struggles with money every once in a while. Everybody struggles on their job. Everybody struggles in relationships. There's struggle. It's just, like I said, it's not about trying to fix. It's about allowing people to be real. So don't do that because you heal better in community. We heal better in community, and safe community is essential. And I don't care if that's your friend group, your church group, your book club, support group, whatever. Just make sure that you let people see who the real you is, the people that you vetted out, the people that you trust. You'd be surprised, like I said, how many of them can relate to you. Don't allow yourself to be isolated because your healing is encompassed within those other people. You will find your strength back. I have to admit, and I say it all the time, and I'll say it again, I wouldn't be who I am without my community. Not just this community here, but the community of friends that know me, that know the real me, that know all of this that you guys hear. They know these flaws and sides of me, and they still love me, and they don't judge me, and they just let me be just like I let them be. And we have that beautiful safety. Trust that, because you need that. Don't believe the hype. Don't try to isolate yourself off. Find your community and be honest and surrender with them. And then outside of your community, I'm just going to also keep it real. Going to therapy is a form of self-respect. Yep, it's a form of self-respect. And I definitely want to put this disclaimer in too, because I think it's important. Therapy isn't just for broken people. Therapy is for folks who are committed to healing. And most of us are all committed to our healing. It's just that we have different routes that we want to take. And I think sometimes we have to give ourselves space and gratitude and grace to understand that it's okay if you need more than prayer and journaling. It's okay to admit that you need a professional. And if you do need a professional, you should utilize the resources that are out there. Hopefully, if you have insurance through your corporation or personally, that there is coverage through there. There are many type of sites. You see BetterHelp. There's therapy for Black women. There's affordable teletherapy, sliding scale services. There are so many different options out there. And as someone who is an avid therapy user, I want you to understand that it is okay to acknowledge that you might need a little bit extra than, like I said, just journaling or praying or, just talking through your community. You may need something more. And I think you have to allow your self space for that. And you got to do the research and explore your options. And you also have to be patient. I think sometimes we all go into, therapy expecting the first one to be the one. Sometimes that's not going to happen. And sometimes it will. I've been very fortunate. I have, for both of the therapists that I had, they definitely are exactly what I needed in that particular point in time. I'll put it that way. And it is definitely a very daunting journey to find a professional that will help you. But be patient. Just keep going, because you're so committed to healing. You're so committed to yourself that you know that you need this extra resource. Keep going. And the most important thing too to remember, honor your story. Honor your story. Going to therapy is so brave. It's not work. It is. It's bravery. It takes so much truth, so much accountability, so much vulnerability to be able to sit there and expose yourself to somebody, to be able to just open up. And that is a very brave thing. So honor your journey, whatever it looks like, and be respectful to it and protect it, because that is you on fire. That is our journeys. Our healing journey is us on fire, and it deserves to be respected. It deserves to be revered, because it is you. That's why therapy is a form of self-respect, because you are honoring your hurts, your healing, and you are allowing yourself to be real at the highest level. So treat that with the most reverence and respect as you look into that journey. And then one thing also to remember as you start that, especially if that comes to play, or as you're still trying to figure it out, you can do this and you will survive this. Let me tell you something. I've been through a lot. I have. In these 52 years of life, I have seen losses on so many levels. And through all the losses, I'm talking death, I'm talking financial, I'm talking just emotional, spiritual. I've seen it all. Love, I've seen a lot. I'm very grateful to God to be on the other side of a lot of that. And I'm very grateful to God to be better equipped to handle the other things that will come. Life is going to always do what it does. But ultimately, no matter what, no matter how dark it was, no matter how often I was on my face, no matter how much I was asking God to spare me, to help me make it through, I made it. And you will make it through hard seasons too, because you've made through hard seasons before. Sometimes I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit for all the things that we've been through, that we don't give enough credit to God for all the things that God brought us through. Like, we have to recognize that the seasons that we're in they ended, those hard seasons. And this season that you're in, it's not going to break you. This is not it. Because if God did it before, he'll do it again. And you also have to recognize that survival is not settling. It's strength. It is. And we have to understand that. That's why, to me, when you're in these seasons and you're working on doing all the things, you're trying to be the best versions of yourself, you're praying, you're going to therapy, you're releasing negative energy, you're believing that you deserve more, and you're acting accordingly to that, and life starts to shift and hit, and you start shifting and hitting and moving through. I want you to remember that it's okay, or it's essential actually, to focus on one day at a time. You really do. You got to really understand sometimes, especially when you're in the trenches, it's better to focus on that one thing at a time. What's that one thing you're going to do today versus trying to corner it all? You can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. So give yourself that grace. And when you're giving yourself that grace, when you're eating the elephant one bite at a time, make sure you celebrate the small stuff. I don't care what the win is. It could have been that you just went and worked out for 3 days straight. If that's a win, is a win. That, because consistency is how that is built. 3 days straight can build consistency. Give yourself those things. Give yourself those wins. Celebrate the small stuff. We're always trying to hold on for the big wins. Sometimes the big wins take a little bit longer, but those small things come right up. I don't care if it's just about celebrating that you got a close parking spot. That sometimes, hey, I don't know about y'all, but I be thanking God when I get the parking spot that's kind of close and I don't have to walk too far, especially right now because it's hotter than Hades here. It's like almost 100 degrees in Orlando. So I'm telling you, you got to celebrate the small things. You do. I don't care if it's the fact that you just got a nap. If you had a good conversation, celebrate all those things, because all of those little wins add up. They add up to big wins, and you got to be able to celebrate the small things, because remember, you are trying to make it. And everybody is out here also trying to make it. So celebrate the small stuff. Don't wait for the big things, because every step, every action that you do is a step toward you having a better life, toward you being fulfilled, toward you being happy, toward you achieving your goals. Give yourself that space and celebrate that. And remember the one big thing too, that you need to say every day. You need to affirm you. You need to say to yourself every day, I'm doing my best, and that is enough. And just kind of even throwing in another reference point. I've talked about this before, and it's been a while since I've talked about it. But one of the most life-changing books that I ever read has been The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the Don Miguel Ruiz book is based on 4 Toltec principles for living your best life and giving yourself the freedom to live that best life. And literally one of them is just doing your best and recognizing that your best may only equate to 20% that day, but it's still your best. And as long as you are still recognizing that and affirming yourself, you will make it. You will get through, because everything is a one day at a time, not 1 week at a time, not 1 year at a time, not 1 month at a time. It is one day at a time. One thing that you can do today that can move you further. Give yourself that grace. Give yourself that understanding, and recognizing that you can and you will survive this season that you're in. And as I close, I really just want to make sure that you understand one thing too. Your best life may look nothing like what you expected, but it still can be beautiful. Give yourself the permission to redefine your success. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's boundaries, maybe it's just waking up and trying again. But give yourself that space, because it's your life, and it doesn't have to be based on a storybook, but it can still be beautiful. Give yourself that grace. Give yourself that permission to redefine what your life looks like. Because remember, it's your life. Don't worry about what other people think. Worry about what you think. Worry about what God thinks, and you'll be fine. Because remember, again, there's no blueprint to this, and you're not failing. You're simply living. Just remember one thing, and I always say this: you are making decisions based upon the information that is available to you at the time that you are making those decisions. Some will be good, some will be bad, but you have to allow yourself to live. You are so worthy of love. You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of support exactly where you are right now. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. There is no blueprint to this, because remember, we're all just trying to make it. So I hope that you will take this as an opportunity to be encouraged, as an opportunity to kind of maybe take a moment and give yourself a break. Ask yourself some things as you are thinking about this episode. What do you need to let go of? Who can you reach out to support or for support this week? Would therapy help you move forward? Think about those things as you are processing this episode. And even if it's something that you would want to recommend to someone who in your life who's struggling, because we know sometimes when our friends are struggling and we're trying to figure out how to be there, maybe this will help inspire you to have a conversation, in the community where both of you can maybe share some of your experiences, share some of your struggles so you can support and encourage each other. But definitely, let me know your thoughts about this episode. And like I said, please share this episode with a friend who needs encouragement and tag me and share your moments and understanding that there's no blueprint. Share with me. We just trying to make it. And I would love to encourage you because, baby, I'm just trying to make it too. I'm 52 and still trying to make it and do my best and live my best life. But like I said, I made it through. You will make it through too. There is no time frame on success. There is no time limit on it all. You are still here, which means there's still purpose in you and great things will come to you. Just be gentle with who you are. Let go of the things that don't serve you and live. Just truly, truly live. So that is this week's episode. Like I said, I want to thank you guys, and I can't wait to hear and be encouraged and support you as you are just recognizing you're just trying to do your best, just trying to make it. So please don't hesitate to share with me. I just wanted to give you guys a quick note as well. I will be out taking a little break. I have some life to live and some beautiful things to do. So I will not be back actually until July the 20th. And I'm going to confirm, I'm actually looking at my phone just to make sure. Yes, I am taking a break. I will not have another new episode until July the 20th. So I'm out. I'm about to go live some life. I hope you are able to spend some time with family, with friends, having good community support and courage, having real conversations, and just recognizing that everybody's just trying to do it, just trying to make it. Everybody's just trying to do their best, and give yourself a break and take some time for peace and some love and some happiness. So I will be back on the 20th. I cannot wait to talk to you again. I will have all of my information in the show note. Please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. Like I said, tell me what you're doing, how you're thriving, or how I can encourage you, because I'm on the journey with you and I want to be a help just like you're a help to me. So thank y'all. I will talk to you guys again soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a wonderful Sunday, and ta-ta. We'll talk later.